Mate, Jason Jabba Davis is with us right now to talk us through it. Mate, Chris Evans, he had a pretty good gig as Captain America. Why do you think he's wanting to give it all up?
Well, Tom, could it be the lycra? That would probably be enough for me. Maybe it's why many Olympians leave, you know, the track behind. It's an uncomfortable thing to be wearing.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons.
There's only so much lycra a man can wear. But Chris Evans, he's played 3 different comic book heroes so far in his 15-year or so career. He's played Captain America, obviously from the Avengers, and the forthcoming The Winter Soldier. He's played Jensen from a movie called The Losers. He's played Johnny Storm in 2 movies, aka The Human Torch. He's even played one villain in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. So he's come out and said making a movie is like chipping in and buying someone a present. You don't know what you've purchased until it gets unwrapped.
Right.
Whether that's a bit of a backhanded, you know, diss of the projects he's been involved in, which is ridiculous because all the films have been
commercially
fantastic. Yeah, and thoroughly entertaining. So whether he wants to go down a more serious path or whether he just wants a bit more control over his career.
Yeah, sure.
Ben Affleck and George Clooney have both sort of switched into behind the camera very successfully, haven't they?
They have indeed. I mean, they've had box office success, they've had critical success. Probably not so much for Ben Affleck because he was the youngest person, I think, to be nominated for an Oscar when he won. He was only 25 for Good Will Hunting. Another 15 years until Argo won, and it won Best Picture, but it was one of only 4 times where the Best Picture film also did not have a nomination for Best Director.
Yeah, but remember there was a lot of sort of people going, oh, hang on, that's so unfair because he did such a good job.
Yeah.
So
he might feel a bit slighted. He himself has played superheroes before. He played Daredevil and he's going to be playing Batman in the forthcoming film where he teams up with Superman. So I think these guys realise they've got more to offer than just their good looks, and you know they want to have a chance to do something more.
But it's not always guaranteed, is it, that a good actor is then in turn going to make a good director? There's been a couple of failures.
Well, people I think like to wave the Kevin Costner flag about this time, which I think is a bit unfair. Dances with Wolves was obviously a fantastic film, but people hated Waterworld, which is ironic given the love people had for Captain Phillips and other kind of water-based adventures. Robert Redford's coming out with All Is Lost shortly. What was wrong with Waterworld?
I must have the only girlfriend in the world that has watched this at least 50 or 60 times.
she must be the only person in the world who's watched it.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. I don't know why.
Maybe he spent too much money, but it was like Mad Max on boats. I loved it.
Yeah. Speaking of Mad Max, Mel Gibson, he's been a pretty decent director in the past. Is he going to make any more films?
Who knows what the future holds for Mel, whether he knows himself. Obviously, he won the directing Oscar for Braveheart, then Passion of the Christ was a huge hit. Apocalypto was a brilliant film, but his personal problems, I think, make it difficult for him probably to get invited for dinner in Hollywood, let alone make a movie. He did take a 9-year break between Braveheart and Passions of the Christ. His last film was in 2006, so he is due to direct one in 2015. You heard it here first. Maybe there's a comeback on the cards for old Mad Max.
Exclusive. Now, I see you've bought the Clint Eastwood book, and he is obviously the actor turned director that trumps everyone. I mean, everything he does is complete gold. How's he managed to stay on top?
Master filmmaker at work. 36 films he's directed. He's acted in over 60. I think one of the things, like with Richie Cunningham, Ron Howard, is the amount of time this guy has spent on a set, and he has decided to soak up everything that he possibly could. He's given us incredible films, including $1 Million Baby, Invictus, Mystic River. I think he's just one of these people that's able to learn.
Yeah. Quickly before you go, what about the women? This is all kind of very male-centric. Do you think Angelina Jolie might be the one to sort of turn it around for the women?
I hope so. She's got a fantastic book to work with, Unbroken, the Louis Zamperetti story. She's doing a great job here in Australia. Only 2 of the top-grossing films last year were directed by women. We had Frozen and also Carrie, so only 2 out of 100 of the highest-grossing films last year. And until The Hurt Locker in 2009, the last female to win an Oscar for Best Director was in 1968. A woman called Carol Reed beat out 2001's A Space Odyssey. 40 years in between Best Women. Let's hope it's not another 40 years until we see another Best Director won by a woman.
Yeah, a bit quicker, I think. Thanks, Joe.
Go Angelina, no pressure.
Yeah. We'll all be watching. Thanks, mate. Always good to talk to you.